it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Dropping Bombs, Dropping Bombs, Dropping Bombs, Dropping Bombs. Folks, Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful, joining us. How are you, sir?
Great to be here, Brad. Thank you so much.
Not as easy as you make it seem.
We have no entitlement. We have no ego. We have no pride. Pride comes before the fall.
Dan Peña is in the house. What's up, Mr. Peña?
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Tai Lopez in the house.
Thank you. I like talking to you.
People Shark, Mr. Daymond John. Welcome, Daymond.
What's happening? Thanks for having me.
Mr. Patrick Bet David in the house. What's happening?
How you doing?
Someone I really like. Man named Brad Lee. Brad, how are you, my friend?
John Schnatter in the house. Papa John, better known as Papa John.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Brad.
If you guys don't know who this dude is, I know you know who he trains, which is LeBron James. Back end of the world lover.
Brad Lee, it's good to be back, brother, in the midst. How you doing?
A British diplomat wrote a book called Leaderless Revolution. And this guy said, all these revolutions are being started around the world are leaderless. 3 types of movements. 3 things that cause us to do something big. Something you hate, something you love, and something that bothers you. You start right there. Grab a paper and pen and make a list. What bothers you? What do you hate? What do you love? Spend hours writing that down. If you go with that, you all of a sudden get emotional. You start getting all the different feelings. Emotion with tears, emotion with anger, emotion with excitement, emotion with chills. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I don't know what just happened to me. I'm not drinking coffee. I'm not on Red Bull. I'm not taking any stuff. And I'm feeling like this. Dude, I want to do something about this. Then you figure out a way to use that emotion into driving it into your business plan and your life plan.
I've come to a conclusion that I think is important for everybody to understand. If you're an entrepreneur and all you have is the greed of money, you will never be successful. You will never succeed. What makes entrepreneurship work is an underlying dying passion to love what you're doing and want to compete in that space because you love it so much. Even though there's some guy in Mumbai or Shanghai trying to kick your ass, you're ready to compete.
Damn near. Pioneer, at least.
The living guy
of the sprouting movement. This dude hasn't eaten shit in a long time. Like, dude, you've literally eaten raw organic for how long now?
Raw organic plants, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, seaweeds, and sprouts, 23 years exclusively.
So you don't know what a cheddar bratwurst tastes like.
And maybe in a nightmare.
You don't know what a nice, delicious piece of A5 Wagyu tastes like.
I have no idea what that is.
Damn.
Everybody talk crap on you your whole life. You did a lot of real mediocre things. You quit on yourself your whole life. What are you going to do today? So I call it reprogramming. Reprogram yourself to see who your future self is. And by the way, start acting like that person today. That's the goal. So to create the why, it would be this. I don't like who I am. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trick myself. I'm going to write down who I want to be. I'm going to write down what's that person's habits are. What is their attitude like? What is their work ethic like? How often do they train? How do they treat their wife? How do they treat their children? How do they smile when they're around people? How are they? And then you know what? I'm not that person today, but I'm going to start living in that person's life right now. And I'm going to trick myself and I'm going to let reality catch up with it.
Some people are happy being, perfectly happy where they are. And that's fine. And that works. But if someone comes to me and says, I want to be great. I want to be special. I want to be different in a positive way. I said, okay, well, let's take a self-analysis. What makes you unhappy? Why aren't you there yet? Why do you feel? Okay. So you have to admit your shortcomings, admit some of your faults, and then we go from there. All right. And then we build up to go this way, to go up.
I think that if you're going out and you're steadily trying to compete with somebody, that means that you're going out and doing what you see them do now, and you're trying to take market share from them. But if they're in a cycle that is 6 months to 18 months ahead of you, by the time you come out with these products and or ideas, they're already on to the next cycle. So if you're not thinking about how you can create, then you could potentially always be behind the competition. It's very common in the fashion industry. Every time football jerseys were selling for Nike, the buyer would say to us, hey, I would bring you into Foot Locker if you make football jerseys. By the time you make football jerseys and you deliver them, a year later, Nike's making soccer jerseys.
Nothing long term. I think to create a productive society, or a business or anything, you have to think long term. Sometimes when you're not doing well, you're short-sighted and you don't see the bigger picture. And I think a lot of people that have been stepped on, societies, cultures, nations, they have that crabs in a bucket mentality.
Bro, I mean, when people say, I can't find an enemy, just give me 20 minutes with you. I'll take a paper and pen and I'll say, tell me the most painful things people ever told you.
Or done to you.
Or done to you. Let's go through the list. Oh, how much time you got? Okay, let's go. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, what else? Who else? What's the most painful thing anybody told you? Do you remember that? I remember that. All right, let's rank it to the top 5. Your daily affirmation moving forward is what those people said to you. Are you serious? Let's flip affirmations a little bit. What are you talking about? Isn't it supposed to be the affirmation? I'm great. I'm a this. I'm a that. No. Why don't you put it in front of you what these people said about you and put pictures right next to them? Why don't you do that? Isn't that psychological torture? If you don't want to scale at the highest level with your life and really find out what you're capable of, don't do that. I didn't tell you it's not going to be a bit crazy if you're driving yourself that way. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of it that's going to be like, because you're going to be more like, you're like, you feel intensity when somebody walks into a room. You're like, holy shit, where's this intensity coming from? They know their target.
How do you find a great team? Like,
Yeah.
you seem to have capable people around.
Yeah.
I always try to find capable people and I end up, disappointed.
Yeah.
How are you finding
Well,
them?
I think that I call it kind of my 3-step rule. One is I use quizzes for pre-employment. Use quizzes. Do an IQ quiz. Okay, there's some, America, of course, has fucking weird regulations on what you can ask people, but there's compliant quiz. In fact, I'm almost done with a company, shameless plug, my Life Compass company. I built software that I use. I'm going to charge companies like $200 a month and you can unlimited use my quizzes. I got badass ones. So you need
I'll
to
be
do
your first customer.
Yeah, you can be. I'm not going to charge much. The company I use charges me $2,000 a month for just an IQ cognitive quiz. I'm like, fuck that. I can build a better one. So you do IQ quiz, then you do a worldview quiz. Don't forget the worldview one. You want to find out if somebody's a psychopathic serial killer. You believe it or not, serial killer type people will answer a quiz that reveals they're serial killers. People go, oh, a serial killer will hide it. No, you ask the question in such a way that they're excited to share that they're whack jobs. So I screen out. Number 3, cast a wide net. You'll have no problem. So what I would do is you post once a month, you do a Zoom, you join it for 10 minutes, you post on your social, I'm looking to hire the best out of the best. My ratio is like 1 to 500. I'm doing a live call. I'm on Zoom. If you want to come work for me anywhere in the world, and then I pick like 1 out of 500.
Self-esteem is the basis of accomplishment. Low self-esteem is what the world has. Low self-esteem. I would guess that whatever 2 or 3 million people you have following you, 1% has high self-esteem.
Yeah. I always say you want to raise your net worth, you got to start with your self-worth.
Correct. Yes, sir.
How do you think someone would do that?
Well, you're an average of the 5 people you spent most of your life with. That's normally, let's say, a mom. Your dad's gone, maybe an older brother or sister, a grandparent, and some guy that lives next door. Now, what do all those people know anything about high self-esteem, high net worth, making money, leadership, etc.?
I've taught at Harvard. I've taught at London Business School, number 1 and 2. It ain't better than Forbes.com. You go to the real-time list. It's pretty accurate. I mean, Putin should be on there. He's a trillionaire. But they're not putting warlords on there, true warlords. So you got the top 10 men. You look at how they built their wealth. You look at the story. It's facts. You can't make believe. 8 out of 10 did it with software.
Software, land.
So then brand. You can't just have software. So you're on the right track because you have software. But the second is build an insane brand around it. Ballmer, the richest guy I know, he's worth about 95 bill. We had dinner and he was telling me the story. He's like, Lotus 123 was Excel, before Excel. He's like, we outbranded them. So it's software. And then you either build a personal brand, which you have, and a corporate brand. You got the double whammy. So it's software brand. That's how 80% Elon made his money with software brand. PayPal, Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, even Warren Buffett now, he's the largest shareholder in tech, Apple. But there's two men who didn't do it. It's Louis Vuitton owner Bernard Arnault and Buffett. But now Louis Vuitton's like 50% of their revenue is online. So it's software, which is e-commerce, online business, SaaS, what you're doing. Build a strong brand, both personal. Steve Jobs put his face in front of it. So both personal. Elon Musk put his face on Twitter X. Then you do reinvest profits into land. Too many people reinvest profits back into the business. Never, you don't know what's going to happen in the economy. Diversify. So like Mark Twain said, buy land, they ain't making any more of it, at least on this earth. So I buy farmland. Jerome here does construction, residential, all of it's fine. Pick your thing.
It just has no connection to reality. But my friends, it's not that they don't. I mean, some of these guys are doctors and lawyers. I mean, they're very intelligent. Now, they don't run their mind runs them. But the reason that intelligence comes across as being brain dead is they operate from a level of insecurity, of jealousy, of envy, of anger. I look at him, I said, now, are you stupid because you're angry, or are you angry because you're stupid? And
you're a car salesman. Husband says, hey man, I got to talk to my wife. Go.
Hey, totally understand. As busy as life is for most people,
you're the husband.
when it comes to purchasing
Hey, hold on.
vehicle,
Start over. He's the husband. Go.
Oh, okay. Now I got you. Man, so I'm going to be full popping Brad Lee.
Full popping, Jakey. Come on, Jakey.
But it's only Leah if you drink Tia.
Don't let him sidetrack your brain. Let's go.
Don't worry. Hey, I totally understand. As busy as life is for most people, when it comes to purchasing a vehicle, especially with the family, it's generally a planned event. When you left your driveway this morning, I'm almost certain you and your wife had a conversation on what the deal needed to look like in order for you to make a decision. You said you love the vehicle, that she'd be extremely happy with the safety and the fuel economy, and we're well within your budget. So, Brad, let me ask you a question. If I can save your wife the trouble of having to come all the way down to the dealership, plus save her the time of having to sit through the entire process, and you could be the hero that takes all of the headache out of the deal. Brad, would that upset your wife in any way if I can do that for you?
Yeah.
Would it?
She's a raging bitch.
Well, hey, that's
good. We don't need her here anyways. Let's do the deal.
That's good. Even the fact that he knows it is fucking incredible.
He knows everything.
Woo, good job, Jakey.
They know all these. All these guys know everything.
Yeah, but you think they don't think they deserve it. What does that mean?
That means this: you'll never out-earn your own self-worth. That means if you look in the mirror and you don't believe that you're worthy of being a millionaire, or you don't believe that it's capable, if you don't think you can run a 4-minute mile, you can't. Okay, it's physically impossible.
So how do they fix that? So maybe we got a whole bunch of people that are that way.
I'm going to tell you. Ready?
How do they fix that?
Alter your identity. Alter your identity. Recreate yourself right freaking now. Watch this. So number one, all the experiences you've ever been through in your life, Brad, all the things that people said. The elephant, right? They tied its leg. They staked it in the ground when it was a baby. As it got big, it could easily rip the stake out of the ground and run away, but it's got a damn leash on it. Look, performance equals knowledge minus leashes. You know what that means? You want performance. You want it, Brad. I'll give you all the knowledge, but if you got leashes in your head and you don't believe that can happen for you, minus the knowledge is gone now because you got a leash, man. You got to unlock.
So like Tony Robbins, took me like 7 years to get to him. Finally got to him. You know how I closed Tony? He said, he just kept wanting to, because, Tony's obviously at another level than most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, height wise, especially.
Well, he really truly wants to make impact.
Yeah, no, he does.
So when I was leaving his house after his third no, I said, Tony, let me ask you a question. How many people come to your events? And he said, 10,000. And I said, what about the other 7 billion people? And that's what closed him.
Right.
He's like, son of a bitch. I never really thought of it that way. Because again, he wants to help people. So I use fear of loss. Like, dude, you want to help all these people. You're only helping 10,000 at a time. What about all the other 7 billion? And that was what got him in. So at the end of the day, like if I were to tell my sons, advice, my advice to them, and I do tell them, is to be happy, because I'll make sure that they have money. They don't need money. What they need is ethics and morals and a family and principles and happiness, meaning just be happy. Like, dude, if I could be happy with no money, I'd quit my job and I'd go live in a fucking tent.
Got it.
But I can't be. Not seeing you fucking in a Ferrari. Like, I got to have one. I get it.